Good morning. Today on Spotlight, inside the 2021 Mackinac Policy Conference kicking off tomorrow. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, it's been over 2 years since the movers and shakers have gathered on the beautiful and historic Mackinac Island to discuss some of the most important issues facing the Great Lakes state. So what's on tap and how will the gathering be different from the past? We'll ask Sandy Barua, President and CEO of the Detroit Regional Chamber, and Wright Lassiter III, President and CEO of the Henry Ford Health System and Chair of this year's Policy Conference. And later on our Sunday morning program, we'll check in with Kiana Wenzel of the Detroit Month of Design. It's Sunday, August the 19th. I'm Chuck Stokes, and this is Spotlight. Sandy Barua, I'm going to start with you. I think I heard 28 months since the last time we had a Mackinac Policy Conference. You've been through a whole lot of ups and downs over the last several months. Are you just sort of sitting on pins and needles, just hoping and praying that you get to the finish line and this all goes as planned?
Yeah, Chuck, after 28 months, we're back in the habit again, I guess. It's kind of like riding a bike. The team is incredibly energized. We've had a great time working with the Henry Ford Health System team on this. The old habits of preparing for this signature event, what we call Michigan Center Stage, has kind of come back in a rush. We feel good about where we are, and we are excited to welcome our friends and Michigan family back up to the island once again.
Well, it's coming your way. Wright Lassiter III, what a heck of a time to be chair of the Mackinac Policy Conference. Some we could say maybe that's a curse more so than a blessing. But on a serious note, there probably could not be a more perfect person to serve as chair right now, given the fact that healthcare is your business.
I would certainly agree that given my background and what I get to wake up and do every day, it's been very fun and in many ways appropriate to be the chair this year. I get to rely on a fabulous clinical advisory team where we have vaccination experts and infectious disease experts and researchers in COVID-19 and obviously Henry Ford, along with the entire healthcare community, has been leaning in as the front line for supporting the community since March of last year as it relates to COVID. So it's been a great time. There's certainly been a little uncertainty in our planning process, but the partnership with the Chamber and myself and Henry Ford has been a great partnership for the last year or so during our planning.
Sure, we'll talk a little bit more about safety in a second. Let me bounce back to Sandy. You've mandated that people have to be vaccinated to be able to attend the conference, both the attendees as well as people that will be on stage and presenters there. Have you gotten much pushback from that, from people saying, hey, you're violating my rights and getting into my health?
Very, very few. We have been, frankly, overwhelmed and pleasantly surprised at the amount of support that we've received, especially from our sponsors, our board, the statewide CEO committee that Wright established to help shape the pillars of the conference. We've had very few cancellations for that purpose. In fact, we got more feedback from people saying that they would cancel if we didn't hold firm on the vaccination requirement.
Politicians can talk about it as much as they want. People are divided when they hear politicians talk about anything, but is it going to be the leadership of CEOs such as yourself to say, we're doing it in our corporation, but we're also going to show you on the island with a very important conference why this is necessary?
Well, Chuck, I would say first and foremost that I have 33 to 35,000 people every day that wake up and come to work trying to ensure that the communities that we serve are healthy. And so the stance that we've taken with the Mackinac Policy Conference is sort of consistent with the vow that we have to try to do our best to make sure that people are healthy when they're in and around us as an organization. I think that as you've mentioned, issues around vaccination for a very diverse community, state, and country are complex. Yes, I do think it requires leadership from corporate folks like myself, but I certainly don't think that's the silver bullet. I think that's one strategy amongst a host of strategies. I think that what we found is that corporate leadership is clearly important. Community leadership is important also. And so there are times when I'm very convinced that Wright Lassiter CEO is not the right voice to get to every corner of my own organization or every corner of the community that we serve. At times it requires the clergy. At times it requires friends and family. At times it requires a one-on-one conversation with a medical leader to answer questions that people have. And oftentimes they're legitimate questions. And so, my belief is that it's not always just a political divide as to why we have some challenges in the community with vaccine acceptance. Sometimes it's historical, sometimes it's lack of information. And there are times when it's explicit disinformation that we know exists in some social media and other outlets. So we were proud in June to be the first healthcare system in the state to establish our requirement for vaccinations for our team members. I'm very proud of the fact that 97% of our team members, as of our first deadline of September 10th, have been fully vaccinated. And I'm also proud to join with many other business leaders around the state of Michigan to help ensure that their team members and workplace is safe and that the people that come in contact with their businesses are safe.
All right, we need to take a quick little break. When we come back, we'll talk about why this conference is so important, and it's been important for a long period of time, and what's on the agenda for attendees this year. We'll be right back. Stay with us. What's the goal, Sandy Barua, and how will you measure success of this conference that has been just really tough to be able to pull together?
Well, the theme of the conference was established by our chair, Wright, and his statewide CEO committee. And the overall theme is reimagining a healthy Michigan. And that has multiple parts to it. Obviously, as one of the premier healthcare leaders in the state, our physical health is certainly a big part of that, but it's also our economic health. It's the health of our communities. It's the health of our, of our social fabric and our racial equity. Those are all elements of this year's conference. And the reason why this year's conference takes on, some special meaning is that, we are such a divided nation and state right now. There are so many issues, including the vaccinations, that are really kind of pulling us apart. And anytime we can use a grand convening of leaders, such as the Mackinac Policy Conference offers, we need to take advantage of that in our society today, because we need to be able to pull together on at least a handful of key issues across the political spectrum in order to make progress and get through these things.
So you're also blending in interesting topics as art and how art plays a major role both with business as well as health. How did you come to that kind of decision?
Personally, I'm a big art fan, and I collect art, and I really believe in the healing powers of art, and I believe that art creates positive energy for folks. We use art throughout our health system to do just that, to try to establish with community artists how the energy that one puts into the piece of art they're producing can create positive results for those who are looking to have their health restored. And there's frankly been solid evidence that states that very fact. And so given that point, our team came up with this idea of, on day one, let's unveil and have a session that sort of talks about how art improves the health of communities, which is very much in line with our third pillar, which is investing in the health of people and communities. And so we're a big believer that we can leverage the positive energy around art to talk about both its impact on health and wellness in a pure sense, but also its impact on overall community health and economic vitality, et cetera.
But what kind of feedback are you getting right now, or have you been getting over the last several months from, first of all, large businesses and how they're faring here in Michigan during the middle of this pandemic, as well as small businesses, which are the backbone of pretty much anybody's city and anybody's economy?
Yeah, great question. I guess it kind of depends. Most large businesses are doing quite well, especially in the manufacturing sector, the large service industry sector. Those businesses maybe took a slight dip in the early days of COVID, but kind of came back roaring strong and have been strong ever since. The small business sector is much more of a mixed bag, and this from all of your reporting and all the guests that you've had on your show. Some small businesses are thriving and doing incredibly well. I mean, one of the great examples that are out there is that if you've got a business that deals with home repair, home remodeling, you've got more business than you can handle right now. Still, however, a lot of our businesses that are reliant upon retail walk-up traffic, sometimes it depends on where they are, it depends on how they've pivoted, it depends on what they're selling. It is really a mixed bag. And it is very fair to say that the businesses that are suffering the most are the smaller of the small businesses, and there's a disproportionate impact on those businesses that are owned by persons of color, because they tend to be less well capitalized and have less of a safety net than some of the other businesses.
All right, we need to take one more quick pause for the cause. We'll come right back. I want to talk about diversity and civility and the role that both of them will play at the Mackinac Policy Conference. We'll be right back. I've attended a lot of the Mackinac Policy Conferences, and diversity has played an increasing role over the last several years, but I don't think I've ever seen one with as much diversity as I've seen in this particular conference, whether it's people of color in key positions or it's women entrepreneurs. Was that one of the things that you really wanted to make sure was a hallmark during your leadership as chair of this conference?
Chuck, I appreciate you giving me that feedback, because that's exactly one of our goals. And so it's nice to hear someone from the outside evaluating our program for next week and to give us that feedback. It absolutely was, and I'd say it was not just my goal. It was a goal shared by Sandy as the CEO of the chamber. It was a goal shared by the chamber board, who established a racial equity and justice committee to look at how the chamber can advance efforts to create economic opportunities, particularly in historically underrepresented communities. And frankly, it was a high priority for our statewide CEO council, who acknowledged that there's more work to be done in the state of Michigan around that. So still with those inputs and with that focus, we were very laser focused on attempting to ensure that we had great diversity in terms of the keynote speakers and panelists, moderators, and frankly, the topics that we would cover.
And I should have said youth as well, because you got a future leaders session that I think Bank of America is sponsoring. So you're also getting age and the young people, the future leaders involved with this. Sandy Barua, one of the topics is the GOP today. That certainly will bring about a discussion about civility. I'm old enough to remember, I can't remember if you were president of the chamber at that time or if it was Dick Blouse, but one of the few times someone got a standing ovation at the Mackinac Policy Conference from Democrats, Republicans, and Independents was a man named Bill Milliken when he was not governor, longest serving governor of this state, and he talked about civility. That was well over 10 years ago, and here we are still talking about civility, perhaps maybe more now than ever before because of all the partisanship.
Well, that particular event was before my time, but I'm glad that the chamber was focused on civility even back then. We've been focused We've been focused on the topic of civility at the conference now for about 5 or 6 years. In fact, we've actually explicitly made it a theme. And really that becomes more important each passing year. I mean, it is getting more difficult every year for people to have civil, rational, calm conversations. And we've lost the art and the science, frankly, of being able to disagree without being disagreeable. The Mackinac Policy Conference is one of the few places where people of diverse views and diverse industry types come together to have a common conversation. And I think it's really important to recognize how unique the Mackinac Policy Conference is. We at the Chamber view it as a stewardship, and we're really glad that we're able to do it. In fact, one of the reasons for going forward this year, even though we're still dealing with this very serious issue called COVID, was that we felt that this civil conversation was needed now more than ever.
If people who cannot travel to the island be able to see it in person, want to be able to take in all that you're going to be doing this coming week, how can they tune in?
Easy breezy. So for 10 years now, we have had a great partnership with Detroit Public Television. They offer the entire conference, basically from soup to nuts, streamed live. You can see it streamed live on the Detroit Regional Chamber's website, and many other nonprofit and for-profit companies stream the conference live as well too.
Right, Lassiter, you will, as in past years, put out a to-do list for this region at the end of the conference?
That is correct. Stan and I will work on that at the end of the conference, and we look forward to publishing that, and obviously to use that as part of the work list for the chamber and for other organizations around the state to help move Michigan forward.
And Aaron Tellum with the Detroit Pistons will be the chair next year. What advice can you give that individual other than run for cover?
Well, my biggest advice to Aaron, who's a good friend and partner as well, is the chamber team provides a great structure to do this planning. You get lots of support from statewide CEOs who will have a point of view about how to help make the conference the best that it can possibly be. And with all those resources, plus his own team within the Pistons, I'm sure Aaron's going to do an incredible job. So we look forward to next year as well.
And Sandy, you get the final question. Not a hardball, softball here. Former Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley is going to be one of the performers up there. People will get to see a different side of him. Who talked him into doing it?
I think that might have been me, but every year we do something called On the Island, Off the Record, which is kind of a fun way to end the conference. Someone might serve a cocktail or two, but we've got the former Lieutenant Governor as one of our acts for the evening.
All right, very good. A lot of people didn't know during all his years of government there that he is actually a very accomplished musician, so it should be entertaining for people as well. Right, Lassiter, Sandy Barua, thanks so much for joining me. Best of luck at the conference on the island, and we're going to all pray that you have good weather there.
Thank you, Chuck.
All right,
Appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. And when we come back, we'll take a brief look at how designers are doing future positive things to try to deal with very complex issues facing our region. We'll be right back. Stay with us. And welcome back. It's a pleasure now to have with us Kiana Wenzel. She is director of the Detroit Month of Design. And welcome to Spotlight.
Thank you, Chuck. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so here's the million-dollar question. What is the Detroit Month of Design? I'm familiar with Design Core Detroit, but I've never talked about it in terms of months.
Sure, the Detroit Month of Design is an annual multidisciplinary design festival that occurs throughout the city of Detroit, September 1st through the 30th, and 2021 marks the 11th anniversary of the festival.
What exactly will they see if they go online, and I know you have an online website, to be able to choose from?
Yes, they will see our full calendar of events, which includes 80 plus events put on by local creatives. Events include exhibitions, installations, tours, workshops, and talks.
What is Design Core Detroit, and how are you having an impact on the design of this overall region? Because I know you aren't just focused on the city of Detroit.
Yes, Design Core is a nonprofit economic development organization housed at the College for Creative Studies. And our mission is to establish Detroit as a globally valued and recognized capital for creative talent. And we work towards that mission by supporting creative businesses, because we know that creativity is one of our city's assets. So if our design businesses are healthy, growing, scaling, We're going to have a more economically viable and beautiful city of Detroit. So we support them by offering business coaching, access to capital, marketing through the Detroit Month of Design, and a connection to the world's global audience through our UNESCO City of Design designation that we received in 2015.
Design is all around us, but I don't think people oftentimes think of it in hardcore terms just because it's everywhere. How do you get people to focus in on the fact that, yeah, design really does make a difference and it can have a true impact on what a region looks like, and cities and regions are sort of defined by the look that they have on multiple levels?
Yeah, I agree. Design is a loaded word. It's like, are you talking about illustration, graphics, architecture? And so some examples that I've been giving is 2020, 2021. What was the value of design in the midst of a pandemic? If you're a business owner and you are pivoting to doing takeout, is your website set up so that people can place those orders? Then maybe you need to hire a web developer or a graphic designer. If you have to rearrange your interior for social distancing, then bring in an interior designer to help you make those decisions. We talk a lot about air quality and ventilation for interiors now. Let's look at hiring an engineer or someone that's working with air quality. Also, we just had a design jam as part of Detroit Month of Design, looking at prototypes and apparel for the limb loss community. So even if you are in a commercial corridor looking at facade improvement and branding, then that is all design. We kicked off the month of design dedicating The Girl with the D Earring by Sydney James, who's a really great example of why Detroit's receiving so much attention. She just produced the Blackout Walls Mural Festival in the North End neighborhood. And when you see all of these buildings coming alive, so vibrant, showing images and pictures of legacy members of our community and representation of Black people, multicultural people, that invokes dignity. It makes the community come alive. It makes people notice a business that maybe they didn't notice before. They always drove by it, but now you have this beautiful depiction of a family on the facade, and it makes people take a second look. It makes the community feel more like home. We have an installation on the DeQuinder Cut where Ghaffari used discarded Eames chairs. They had all these Eames parts and they created a sculpture out of it, looking at reuse and adaptability, which is a sustainability story.
Kiana Wenzel, Director of the Detroit Month of Design, thanks so much for joining us today on Spotlight. And if people want to get more information, you can go to DetroitMonthOfDesign.com. I'm Chuck Stokes. We'll be back next week with more newsmakers in the Spotlight. We hope you have a great week.